Yes, it is I. I was about to say, call myself Disco. Whoa. It is I, Rasco, and I'm joined with.
A
Hello,
man
John.
with a mouthful of beer. It's John from Lords Brew Co.
Who is covering for Disco tonight? Who has got the evening off? So, welcome, John. How are you doing? Not that I just asked that a minute ago, but.
Well, I was having a few beers. So what happened, Rasco? I'll be honest with you. I'd
Yeah,
set everything up. I've got a new camera. I
I
was
know
very
you said.
excited about my new camera.
Uh-huh.
I've set it up and trialed it as a webcam. But then I set everything up, and then I said to Lydia, "Am I doing anything right now?" And she was like, "No, you can relax." I was like, "You know what? I might just do a live stream." So I started doing a live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and it's led on to this live stream. So I've had quite a lot of beer, but I'm having a lovely time, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is indeed. Um, it- yeah. Mayor Wrench, we're going to already. Yeah. Well, hello to Phil and everyone else joining us, Thomas, and anyone else who's never been here before or has been here before. Welcome back. Um, I've had a bit of a messy week.
Go on then. What's happened?
Well, as you may or may not know, or you do know because I texted you when I was there. I was at the uh, Beer Writers Guild Awards ceremony.
Yes, you were.
Indeed. And if I'm honest, I have never been to anything so posh in my entire life. Um, it was at a building, it was at the Royal Institute of Civil Engineering. It was held in there, and that's like literally up the road from Parliament. I mean, Big Ben is 5 minute walk down the road. I'm not kidding. Um, I went along feeling rather out of place, thinking, this isn't me. What am I doing? I had to dress up smart, and I'm there, and there. Everyone's there from beer writing and beer promotion, and the communications director of cameras there. Johnny Garrett's there, who walked away with about 5 awards. Brad walked away with an award, which I was happy for as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and I get there, and I have a few beers. I have a good old chat with Green King, who've gone for a rebrand, and they're looking quite cool. And that takeover they had a few years ago has apparently done them really, really well, and they're investing
Yeah,
more
with
in beer.
Stonegate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, oh, he opened
They're
the
still
can.
they're still hammering us though.
Really?
Unfortunately, yeah, small brewers. They're
Mm,
they're not giving us good money.
sorry about that.
Well, that's just how it goes.
But yeah, I was telling him, look, what I'd really love you to do is go back into your archive and dig up a beer you made 200 years ago. And they kind of like, we could, but no, that's what I was pushing them for. Lovely chat. And as it goes on, I see up on the board where I'm sat, who I'm sat next to. Um, I'm sat next to Ruth Evans, who's a head of beer technology and whatever. She's got an MBE. Lily Waite from Queer Brewing and Jager Wise from Wildcard, and some other people who on Cider Go who won an award. I was on a table with a lot of people who won awards that night.
No.
I was probably the only one who did, but yeah,
Oh
uh,
dear.
yeah. And the beer's all free. It's all going down well. I had a good old chat with Meantime as well. When you're at the event, you're on this round table, right? And when the food comes to you, the waiters and waitresses come around you, they stand behind you, and there's a manager there. And he's like pointing, going to them, go a little left, go a bit right. And then he looks at them, he lowers his hand, and then they serve you the food simultaneously. Everyone gets the same, and just wham. I'm like, whoa.
Wow, that's
Uh,
cool.
it was cool. And it was in this really big old building. I was, I I walked out of there feeling very cool because I'd never been to anything so posh. And when it came to the end, they were obviously I didn't take a shopping bag, stupid me. They're handing out free beers, and St Austell are handing out. We've got a load of beers, and they've got this proper black. It's a black IPA, and they've got some like Belgian triples they've made as well. And I put them in my coat pocket, which is dragging the coat pocket down. There's a big long Undertaker jacket. Walking past Parliament at 11 o'clock at night, clanking away.
Great fun.
Oh, mate, it really, really was, mate.
It's interesting. So the British, is it the British Beer Writers Guild?
Yes. Yes.
So my question is, who sponsors them? Who pays the money to them?
See, I knew you were going to say that. It is, well, very interesting characters. St. Austell is one of them. But I'll bring up the sponsor list if you want. St. Austell, Fuller's and Asahi both sponsor.
Yeah, well, Fuller's are owned by Asahi.
Yeah, but the brand has got the Fuller's brand and Asahi. So I'm thinking, like, they're getting double money from the same place.
Yeah, well, it's probably because the different company registrars, so they're registered in as different companies, so they have to use it as a tax write-off. So,
never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it will be a tax write-off. I would have thought it would be down as marketing and advertising.
By the way, I'm drinking this by Unbarred Raspberry Berliner Weezer, fresh tart raspberry, 3.9%. Very nice. Back to the sponsorship. Nice. Yeah, I think Budweiser even sponsors them.
Which is AB InBev.
Yes, AB InBev is lurking in the corner of this entire event. And stranger, a lot of people winning these awards are actually quite critical of AB InBev.
See, interesting thing. See, when I got into beer, obviously we're tiny fry. We know nothing about anything. No one. I didn't even know who the British Guild Beer Writer Group were. I had no idea who they were. And I know, obviously, other guys who own big breweries, way bigger than mine. And I was like, what do you think? And they literally passed them off as, well, they're owned by the big guys. And they're guys that I would consider own meta breweries. So I'm micro, they're meta. And they pass them off as like, well, it's a control thing. So even though you might be a critique, but you're not going to win any awards. And this is the thing about it. I find it very difficult to get behind it when it's so... Sorry, my cable is doing my head in that I can see it. I find it difficult because I feel like, and I'm probably wrong in saying this, but it's like and I'm being honest. So there's nothing wrong with those guys, but from what I've seen of them, they come in, they swan around at a beer show, and they're like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm this, I'm that, I've written a book, I've done this, I've done that. And quite often, I don't feel that they've actually brought any value to the trade, because most people don't see them unless they're on TV. So like Melissa Cole, she's on telly, so people see her. I feel like she's on telly, people see her, there's football. But I feel like even then, because so many people are naffed off with the BBC, they're not watching that. They're not looking at it. So when you're a brewer or you're an entrepreneur like me, you've put all your life savings up, you've pushed it into a brewery, and it's almost like there's a risk that they're not actually promoting beer, that they're just becoming Klinger Honours or beer police, or they're steering the trade because they're sponsored by big money. It's really interesting. And I'm only saying this, I have had nothing to do with them in the sense of any kind of depth of anything. We do sponsor one of the people, their channel.
Yep.
But how much value that brings to a small brewer like me, I don't know. So what, from my point of view, as a brewer, as somebody, an entrepreneur, has a small brewery, put his life savings in, seeing our trade get absolutely hammered, what are the British Beer Guild doing? Because ultimately, it's big money that pushes them. The big brewers don't want us to survive. So what's the story on that?
See, that is a brilliant question. And having just watched you only 30 minutes ago and seeing how laughing and jovial we were, to come across from that to very, very serious on a Saturday night, mate, I don't know. There is this point that reviewing and critiques just don't matter anymore. I mean, if I hear a critic, you know, I follow Mark Kermode a lot, and if he slams a film really, 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 really badly, it makes me actually want to go see it to find out how bad it actually is. And I've kind of with beer as well. If someone really like Simon or Paul or Kent Beer Review, if they've slammed something quite heavily, I actually want to try it. So, you know, does critiquing affect anything? I don't know.
It's a difficult thing to answer, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing. It's difficult. I'm in a place where I'm watching, and I'm seeing big money is what seems to conquer all things.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the sad thing about it, unfortunately. But it's interesting. I just feel like I've never heard of any of these people ever before. When I came into the beer world, I didn't know who any of them were. But people in the trade revere them. But then at the same time, as a consumer, I'll give you an example. So, like, let's go on to the something that happened recently with a certain advertisement.
Oh yes. Now
this
that's even in the script I gave you.
Yes, that's right. So this is what's really like caught my imagination. So Beer 52 put out an advert, and it was very edgy and, to be honest, a little foolish. But I can imagine some intern at a Facebook marketing thing going, I can do this. I just need something edgy. I need something. And maybe that person that wrote that advert went in to a bottle shop or a tap room and felt like he had his pants pulled down and his arse cracked, right? So that's what I'm seeing. He put the advert out, and then what happened? Everybody jumped on him because, and rightly so, it was not the thing to say.
No.
It wasn't the thing to say. But do you think... So he went mad in the beer community. We all went absolutely mental about it. And no one was happy about it. I'm not happy about it. I thought it was a proper, excuse the French, dick move. I thought it was the wrong thing to do. But do you think it'll make any difference to their sales whatsoever?
Yes. I think
don't think so.
Good evening. Hello. Well,
hello,
I usually disco handle the comments, and so I'm driving a car at the moment while talking. See, here's the thing. Do I think they're crash? No. Do I think they would take a dent? Yes. For a short time. But it depends how much it escalates. Will I don't know, say the London Brewer Alliance condemn any further because like 9.9% of hospitality has disappeared since March 2020. I don't know. I would think it'd make a dent, but I don't think it would necessarily crash. But I don't know. We're just staring into alternative universes here.
It's true, isn't it? And this is the other side to it. I went to Sainsbury's on was it Friday night? Friday night, and I went in and I said to Lids, "I'm going to grab some beers Friday night." Got myself some beers because I actually brought some beer home, but I was going to save it, but I've drunk it all. So,
As you do.
As you do, because that's the thing to do. I've got some of these instead.
Ooh, very nice.
So my new camera, look at that for product.
It,
You just bang it in. It doesn't matter. I can hold it here and it will focus on it.
yeah, the autofocus I was going to say is smashing it.
It's off the chart. It's off the chart.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sony, for helping me. And look at this bottle opener. My mate's daughter makes them out of a spark plug.
Nice.
And look at that. I've just pulled that off and it's absolutely perfect. So if you're a bottle cap collector, it's the one for you. Stirring Silver is a website, and she was on the One Show. She got Young Trader of the Year.
Nice.
So yeah, she's a wonderful young lady called Frankie. Anyway, what I was saying, the point I was making is, I'm in Sainsbury's and people are queued up in front of the craft beer aisle. Our local Sainsbury's has the worst selection of craft beer anywhere.
Yeah.
And they're all there. And what are they putting in their trolleys? Brewdog. They're all putting Brewdog in.
Yeah.
And all of that controversy and all the stuff that's gone on, people don't care. They just don't care.
I hear what you're saying, John.
Doesn't make it right.
Yeah, no, I agree. Put it this way, at my dojo, when I go to train in Laredo on Thursday, two of the senseis, well, one sensei asked me and another for advice on beer, like non-alcoholic beer. One of the senseis said, "Oh yeah, Nanny State," and I went, "Yeah, you could go there, but bit of a shit company. If you don't mind me saying, James Watts, please don't sue me, because you have a habit of doing that." But he had no idea there was any controversy. And he's this very smart guy who keeps his ear to the ground on issues like that. I said, yeah, there was BBC documentaries and everything, and all sorts of reports. You're right, in the sense, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, like I said, I think Brewdog took a dent in their sales, probably towards the beginning of the year, but it's not going to kill them. It's going to take a lot more than that to kill them. I don't think that they will be killed off. I think next year is going to be a very big year for Brewdog. They're going to have to show they've had 18% growth. It could be the ends of James Watts and Martin Dickey, but the name will continue. Will
it matter that James Watts and Martin Dickey step aside? Because ultimately they'll still be shareholders. They'll still be making money as people that own shares in that company. They've already had a good sum of money out of it. I totally understand it, and if I was them, I'd do exactly the same thing. But who's got the most shares, or what was the company that bought into Brewdog?
I think you might have I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I want to say it's Heineken, but I don't know if it's. I feel like it might be. Let me have a look.
Don't know. I know they've shrunk their percentage down to about 20. I think James Watts owns 24%. Martin Dickey owns 22%. And then it's divided events everywhere, several other conglomerates. Ooh, I don't know. Heineken deal. I'm not sure the Heineken deal went ahead. It was something they were exploring, but I don't think it went ahead in the day. But then again, I don't know. Could be anyone. Probably Heineken, says Paul. There you go. Let us know if you know.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm trying to find them on Company's House. Try and work out who's got what. What I'm saying is, this goes full circle. So the thing is, who owns that other part of the company? And my argument would be, could it be the companies that sponsor the Guild of Writers?
Well,
and this is the thing. This is where I feel like lines are blurred and it all gets a little bit confusing and I feel like, Rasco, I know you well enough to know that you're a good man. And I know when everybody else said to me, go sell beer to Brewdog, you said, don't do it. And I didn't do it. And what happened? What happened? There was a massive load of controversy.
yep.
And I am flipping glad that I hadn't sold to them.
Yep. And just on that note, mate, if you do choose to sell them, feel free. It's your business in the end of the day. I wouldn't blame you. The best thing that those bars do is actually put other breweries up in there.
Yeah, but they want your recipes though. That's the
really.
Of course they do. Yeah.
So, but in the end of the day, it's just business. But I think.
Do you know what? Sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Do you know what I find so difficult about them? And this is the thing that I find most offensive is that they were so punk and they were pulling stunts, and I love that. I love the pulling stunts. I'm all up for that. I love guerrilla marketing. I'm a fan of all the crazy stuff. I've pulled all sorts of stunts. I've got James May to drink my beer. I'm the tiniest brewery in the world with the loudest mouth, right? I've ended up the smallest independent brewery in the UK with the largest YouTube channel. I'm a small brewery with a loud mouth.
Yep.
I appreciate that and I understand that. But with Brewdog, what they did was they started to jump on the bandwagon for political, environmental, and what I would say is identity politics. And they cashed in on those groups. They really cashed in.
Yes.
And that for me, I'm a big, when it comes to my veterans in this country, we don't look after them as well as we should. It's not politically, people are like, soldiers and stuff like that. Look, they go and fight wars based on politicians' whims. And then on top of that, we've got people just general, the divide between rich and poor is getting bigger and bigger. But you don't see, and you see the war in Ukraine where Russia invaded a sovereign nation. Now, don't get me wrong. Ukraine's politicians were no better than any other politicians. They're all lion swines. And I've got Ukrainian friends, and so I supported Ukraine. I don't think what Russia did was right. I saw it coming. And I do feel for Russian soldiers that are dying there that don't really want to fight. They're fighting their relatives half the time. But I'm not cashing in on it. I'm not like, I want to make, this is a great thing. I'm going to jump on it and make money out of it. And I feel like Brewdog, they virtue signaled so much in those areas and did exactly the opposite. Allegedly.
Yeah. I always found them tedious because I could always see through them.
And that's in my opinion, not my company's. That's my opinion, personally.
Yeah. They stitched up Melissa Cole, actually. with a phony article, which I can't. I'm not doing myself any credit here as a member of the British Writers Guild and not remembering my notes. But they stitched her up and tarnished her reputation. They were quite willing to like humiliate anyone with a PR marketing trick, and I just find them tedious. I remember at Brew London, I saw Martin Dickey, and my mate was texting me, said, "Go speak to him." I was like, "I'd rather not." The only thing I've got to say, Martin Dickey, is like, "How did you make Jaipur then?" So that's about it. Anyway, but yes, I think you're right. You're full circle. You got a bunch of critics, writers, entrepreneurs, influencers, I guess. It's rather the poshest event I've ever been to and probably will ever go to, being sponsored by the corporate's beers, which many claim to dislike. But hey,
It's tricky, isn't it? What I'm saying is, Rasco,
yeah.
as you're going into that,
Mm-hmm.
remember, there's people like me that have put our life savings on the line to make nothing more than a living for our family and for the people that work for us. And
Yes.
those people at the top would seek to destroy that to put crap beer in their hands.
Yes.
And so, as I'm always about the disruptor, stand for the truth, be steady on what you say, make sure you're sound in what you're saying, and speak up. That's all you got to do. It'll get you in trouble for sure, but you'll be famous.
Yes, but for what reasons?
For telling the truth. I'm all up for that.
So, what's this about you being on GB News then?
So I wasn't on GB News, so this is really interesting. So I was watching. So I like to watch news whilst I'm
Yeah.
working. Although I had to take a break because it was sending me down a dark rabbit hole of despair. Because that's all they promote. It's all sensational, all news channels. But I like to watch. So in my van, I've got digital radio, and I will listen to LBC. Big shout out to them because they got us on during the pandemic, and we got over £3,000 of orders from being on them. Yep, they're absolutely the people on LBC. I said we're all arguing, but ultimately, and we all want to pin the blame on someone, but ultimately, we need to work together. And there's people suffering all over the place, and we just need to work hard. And those guys just literally, the amount of beer we sold was incredible.
Wow.
I've been on. I listened to talk radio to try and get the other side of the view, and equally so, I've been on there. People have bought beer off us. Not quite like LBC. I think people. I can't remember the name of the guy I went on with, but people were like, "You went toe to toe with that guy." So it was a brave move. But I think we were both feeling the same way that day. There was a bit of synergy there. I listened to GB News. I listened to the BBC News in my van. And equally so, when I'm on YouTube, I will watch and find out what's going on. So I like to hear all sides of the story and make my own decision on what I think the truth might be.
Good for you, mate. Good for you. I can't listen to LBC. I can listen to a few segments. They do, but I can't listen to fully because I just angry people radio. I find, and it gets me really hyped up and actually feeling a bit nauseous. But a few segments which get put up by likes of Nick Ferrari, Andrew Marr, James O'Brien, and a couple others.
James O'Brien I went on with. James O'Brien. Yeah.
Oh, it's good. He can be he's a bit too tough with his callers sometimes. I think
he was tough with me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, James O'Brien, he's just a radio presenter.
Yes.
I worked in the motor trade all my life. I've been with crooks, criminals. I've been with convicts. I've been with every kind of person you've ever thought of, and like some of them would quite happily kill you. So going on the radio with James O'Brien, I'm like, he's just another dude like me and you. He's just a bit vicious. I've dealt with vicious people. It's fine. It's all good. And actually, we found a middle ground, and he actually said, "I think you're probably more compassionate than me."
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay.
So for me, I think the problem is all, and I don't know about you, Raska. I think you probably feel the same way. Knowing I know you, I think in this day and age we have to have a balanced view. We've got to hear all sides of the conversation, and that's even in beer. We need to hear. And do you know? I saw somebody a bottle shop post Beer 52's apology, and
Yeah.
they said in all, uh, you know, reasonable, making it fair, they apologised. They made a mistake. I mean, I did it. I'll be honest with you. I made a massive mistake. Huge. Could have sunk me. So when we were doing the meme stocks, I was doing meme stocks during lockdown to try and circumvent my business going down a hole.
Oof.
And I started making some beers to do with meme stocks. So I did Ain't Mafia, I did Hoddle, which is Hold On for Dear Life, which was actually a typo from Hold that
Yeah.
somebody was typing, and I did To the Moon. Now, the first version of Hoddle, when you look at the imagery for that, it's a fist holding some dollars. So I
Yeah.
did the fist, but it's also the same fist for Black Lives Matter. So when I launched it, people were like, "The hell? Why? Why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was the same thing." So I pulled it straight away and replaced it for something else because I didn't want to upset anybody. But we do all make mistakes. It
Yeah.
happens. Companies make
It does.
mistakes. People are
Yeah.
in.
Absolutely, man. I mean, just to answer Paul's question, no, I don't think Heineken do have shares, and they were going to have shares in BrewDog, but it didn't go ahead. That is the public explanation. Behind the scenes, who knows? There was a little story I was going to tell there. It's gone. That happens a lot. Maybe I shouldn't do this at 10 o'clock in the evening on Saturday. Either way, off we go. Companies make mistakes, and I make mistakes. And I'll tell you, at the event on Wednesday, I met with Gabs, who actually is leaving BrewDog. He did a great documentary, you can say, called "What's in the Glass" about how the industry was in decline even before the pandemic hit. But we and him spent a lot of time setting the world to rights to where's the British economy going. And I was saying to him, look, but everyone's here is quite happy and smiling, and it feels good to be here, you know. And this was toward the end, when after I've been served many a good beer. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, and there was a lot of good food beer pairings as well. Well, looks good. I mean, oh my god. So I was having this conversation with Gabs, and I just said I don't know where it's going because I'm a big believer in following patterns, and particularly patterns in history. 100 years ago, the UK was a superpower of beer brewing, and it's kind of restored that strength. And now we're at this precipice where I don't know what's going to happen to the so-called craft beer, good beer industry, brewers like yourself. I don't honestly know.
You're not
And
wrong.
yeah.
It is a difficult pace.
It is. With that said, I was in the Hope last night
Great
for their Dark Beer Festival, and they only had 3 beers left from that festival. And all the beers went on Thursday, and they said the busiest night ever. And I'm like, it's only a Friday. It's Friday at 7:30 in the evening, and you're out of beer. So, but I found a few to drink, and it was a bit much on the high ABV beers. In fact, the only things that were left were some nuclear drinks, and they were minimal 10%. There was this one made with Vietnamese milk, which was delicious and smooth. And they had, if I get the phone out, they had this other beer. I'll bring it out. I had it on keg and cask, so I brought both and did comparisons. If I had my tripod, I would have made a video of it. What was it? Look at it. I send too many messages in Disco because here we go.
The Disconator.
The Disconator.
I need to talk to you about your beer as well.
Oh, Old Chimneys Brewery. Good King Henry. Powered by grain. Yeah, and they had it in cask and keg. I have a thing. I think sometimes high ABV beers are better in keg because the aggressiveness comes out more in keg. With cask, it's a bit too smooth, which is nice, usually nice, but I'm not sure that's good for a high ABV beer. Some aggressiveness is good because it warns you saying, oi, oi, slow down, pal. Don't be silly.
Take it easy.
Yeah. That's how I feel. Feel free to disagree. Anyone, please.
I think that's a reasonable shout, to be honest. So your Disco Made Me Do It has had a bit of a bumpy journey. Yeah, so we had a temperature probe that went down that decided to let the beer go to its absolute max temperature, and it spewed its guts out all over the brewery when we got back off the weekend. So we brewed it on the Friday. By Monday, I mean, the brewery smelled amazing, but it had literally thrown all its guts out and then crash cooled it.
Really?
Yeah. So we're at 10%, but it's really sweet. We're not quite happy with it at the moment. So it might either go down the drain or we're thinking we might actually miss it this Christmas. We might bottle some of it and we might cask the rest into 18s and leave it for a year and re-release it next year.
Ooh. That might be
nice. We won't know until Monday. So we've got to have a look on Monday, see how many points it's moved up. I drank some on Friday and I thought it was very good, but it was too sweet.
Right.
So we're in this place. The problem is, what I don't want to do is pour away 600-700 quid's worth of input. So, but the weirdest thing happens when you make mistakes. Sometimes you get the best beers ever. So, like Silver Spur, a beer that we produce, it's one of our best sellers, was an accident.
Really?
Wow,
that's fantastic.
Just a mistake on the malt bill, and it ended up really strong and really, really, really pale, and it looked like water. And now that is easily one of our best sellers. It's one of the core range.
That's fantastic.
These strange things happen.
And that's really good when you get like random mistakes or random things that end up being beautiful moments and just end up opening all sorts of doors for you. I'm glad to hear that, man. I hope Disco Made Me Do It. It could be cursed, though, the beer. Calling it after Disco, that's all I can say.
Disco's awesome. It's all right.
Yes, he has his moments. Oh, this has been recorded. Shit. This is a recorded moment of me being nice to him. I wonder if he's even watching. Disco, are you out there? What was I going to say? I don't know. I don't even know what was going. Oh yeah, this is the thing. So you are nominated for Brewery of the Year. Congratulations, by me, yours truly.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Oh, this is an interesting comment. Have we actually met in real life? A couple of times. There you go.
Have you met Joey?
No.
I've met him.
Yeah.
He's big, massive American dude. Ex-Air
Really?
Force, American Air Force.
Yeah. What
Loud,
regiment were you in?
awesome guy.
Yeah. So congratulations. And I'm nominated this year. You're up against Cronks, a local brewery to me, and Spatch Hob Day. And they were complaining on Wednesday because they were up for an award, saying, "Oh, we never win anything." So, well, don't worry, I've nominated you for an award. So, there you go.
We always get runner up. It doesn't matter what we do, we get runner up. And do you know what the reason is?
Why?
Because the bigger breweries. So I'm down to 3 staff, 1 part time. So entering a competition and winning it is based on your form filling out capabilities a lot of the time. So if you're good or you've got somebody good at filling out forms, you'll win stuff. And I discovered this at BeerX last year. So we won an award. We got silver, as always. We're always runner up for our lager in regionals. They said it was the best lager. A lot of people said I voted as the winning lager in Yorkshire, but you're up against form fillers, and we just don't have the time or the manpower. You know, like I'm the managing director, and I'm out delivering beer. I'm making YouTube videos. I'm doing the advertising. I do all the invoicing, receipts, and stuff like that. I answer all the sales emails. I sell beer. It just goes on and on and on. So if you can get somebody to sit down and fill forms out, you're going to win. And obviously, not taking anything away from the breweries that do it, but they have to produce good beer as well.
Yes, absolutely. This is why, in some ways, I think Disco more so. We're both marketing and PR skeptics. I mean, you need good PR and good marketing, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, is it more? This actually brings it back to Brewdog. Are you more of a PR department or PR? Are you a media beer company or actual brewery making good product?
It's difficult. It's difficult. Look at Red Bull's model. Are Red Bull a drinks company, or are they a media company?
Well, I don't know.
I would say they're probably a media company.
Possibly. What's this about? Do you both know how to drive a stick shift?
Yeah. You've been with me, Joey. You know I drive sticks.
Not sure what he means there, but I don't know.
He means, do you drive a manual or an automatic?
I'm from London. I don't drive.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't drive in London. There you go.
No, yeah. You avoid driving as much as possible if you can. No, I haven't owned a car. So yeah.
You don't even have a car.
I don't even have a car, mate, because I just cannot justify it. I'm thinking I'm going to bite the bullet next year and actually get a car because I'm sick and tired of being trapped within the M25 island. And I could actually, because I'm self-employed, and it would actually benefit my work a bit having a car. But at the same time, every time I look at it, the price on this and that has gone up, and I'm just like, oh, fuck's sake, do I really want this hassle? I've got a license, but yeah, so there's just things like that. But we'll see. So, Proper Black by St. Austell, a black IPA, 6%. You do a black IPA, don't you?
We do. We've got one called B2.
Ah, yeah.
it's a session one. Oh, my lights have gone on. But B2 and my fire's gone out at the same time. That's insane. Who'd have thought it? I'll just open that drawer. B2 got us on the radar with Northrop Grumman.
Mm.
Yeah, we nearly got ourselves into some trouble.
Question does not apply to John. I already have seen him drive. Oh, that's nice. That thing would shock you about America. Rates of car ownership. Indeed. Yes. Have you ever thought about doing a collaboration though, just to get you on more of a profile?
With who?
Anyone? I don't know. North. Anspatch Hob Day.
Okay, so I'm not against a. In fact, we've been offered a lot of collaborations, and just nothing has managed to pull off because we're either too busy, because we're such a small team, it's very difficult to fit it all in. But if you want to do something with a bigger brewery that's in the supermarket, it's normally determined by the supermarket that you collaborate with. So it's not the breweries talking to each other. So if you were to see Kirkstall and I don't know, I'm trying to think of another brewery, like a Manchester one, maybe Track or someone like that. Although I don't see Track in supermarkets that much. That's probably pushed by the supermarket. 90% of the time, it's the supermarket. And then we're probably going to make between 5 and 20 pence a can profit. Yeah. So that's why I don't really do many of them. Yes, it's a profile raiser, but is it a good one? That's the hard thing to make the decision on, really. I'm just going to stoke my fire because it's going out.
Go ahead, mate. Go ahead.
I'm here.
I must say, this is a very impressive beer.
Is it though, or is it because you've hung out with the guys?
I didn't hang out with them St. Austell that long. This is literally at the end, and I was just looking at these bottles, and I was thinking, "Oh, hello!" And they said, "Oh, you can take these home with you." And I went, "Okay." Green King, I spoke with quite a lot, and they invited me down. And it was just that they have gone through a complete, total rebrand. Well, not total, but they're looking more cool and craft than they ever have done. There are plenty of breweries I've hung out with, had a laugh with them, but I have to admit their beer isn't that. Doesn't make me do backflips. But perfectly nice people. Wish them luck in their business. But yeah, no. St. Austell have been coming on my radar more and more because one of my clients sent me a box of their beer, Menenju Stout, which is gorgeous, proper, decent real ale stout. And I had it in cask at GBBF. But this is something special. This is just really, really quite easy to drink. 6%, so be careful. It's got this fruity twang going on it and a nice bitter bite. I am loving this, and I'm already regretting the fact I only have one. C'est la vie. There is a lack of content from Rasco and Disco at the moment. I apologize for that. And I'd just like to say I have been incredibly busy the past 2 months, and the point where I'm actually been left in tears. I'm not kidding either. So I hope to have at least 2 videos out this week, but don't quote me on this. This client might call back, and that'd be me gone for another 2 months. And that said, I do have some big interviews coming lined up with recognizable faces. Funny story for you people. I was sat next to Lily Waite at the big dinner on Wednesday, who runs Queer Brewing, and she said, "Oh, do you have any lighting equipment?" And I said, "No, I don't." And I said, "Oh, I can help you with that. I'm a photographer and make you get a good shot." Okay. So what do you shoot on? I just got my phone out, said this, and clonk on the table. But yeah, there you go. And Jager, I've interviewed twice, just laughs at, "Yep, he does it with that." So, and Jager spoke very highly of the interview we did and said it was good fun. I really appreciate that. It's really nice when people say good things about you, because I was listening in on your video, your stream earlier, and Paul's had some very nice things to say about the show, and I'm glad I brought the show back. I'm glad it's on YouTube now. Fuck Instagram. Done with that. No, thank you.
Well, Instagram's all about the money, isn't it? If you're worried about whether something's going to get shown, or sorry, I'm trying to adjust my lights in the background so it's not inducing an epileptic fit on somebody. Yeah, the issue is Instagram is owned by Facebook. Facebook requires money. So get this. So at Christmas, we always run a Christmas to New Year advert. And the reason we do this, not because we want to sell any beer, but they always have a purge on alcohol-based channels, alcohol-based content. They ban a bunch of people. But if you're paying for advertising, they don't ban you. Simple reason. Crazy, really. It's crazy reason. But yeah, as for like what I was going to say is, as for you, Rasco, obviously you're chasing down this route of the British guild writers. What's your goals? You must have some goals. I mean, the fact that you've been reduced to tears with everything else that's going on, which we've all been there. Like, there's nothing embarrassing to admit that.
No.
What is it that what do you want to achieve? You've got to have some goals set. What is it that you're looking for?
John, I just want to produce the best fun content I can do. Really, I trained and I studied in TV film production. I could never get into the industry fully. And so YouTube is really my outlet to solve whatever I did, or whatever is inside of me. That said, I do like my job, but it's just been a bit tense because I've had a new client on, and it gives me freedom. And who knows, I have been pushed in a way, and I got no harms in saying, look, I'm being bitten by the cost of living crisis. My mortgage will go up beginning of February, and it's going to be a tight one. I've contemplated quitting drinking altogether, but I think I'm just going to have to reduce. And I thought, I'm going to have to give up Rasco and Disco. And that is still an option. That's still an ongoing debate. So what I'm doing, look, I joined the British Writers Guild. We were approached. Well, I was having a chat with a member in September, and they said, look, you should consider joining. And I went, really? Us? Really? And said, yeah, you should do it. And I am always surprised at how many breweries know who we are. Siren on Wednesday, although I had one of their social media officer said, yes, hello, we have seen you out and about. And that was really nice of them. And I just want to produce the best videos possible. And I've got new editing software I'm looking into, which is actually slowing down production. I just want to do the best I can. I don't want to get too serious. Although I do want to get serious, but I don't want to get serious. If you know what I mean, I'm somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I have a laugh and just tell people. I get messaged a lot from old school friends who follow me, saying, asking me for beer recommendations. I do my best to give them advice. I don't think I'm a guru of knowledge, by the way. I'm an enthusiast, not an expert.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's is it. I think sometimes you got to scratch that itch, man. You got to scratch
mm,
that itch.
yeah.
I had a itch that I wanted to build a big company, and
Mm,
I feel like I'm scratching that itch right now. I've gone for it. I started with 500 quid.
mm,
Um, we're into six figures of investment. Want to get into seven. Um, but talk about absolutely get arseholed as a trade. We have had the worst luck I
no.
think any trade could have.
Yes. I,
So
I
it's very difficult at our size, anyway.
yeah, you never really seem to catch a break either. I mean, even before the pandemic, it was tough. Um, and post pandemic, it's getting even harder. I it just goes back to that conversation I had with Gabs. I don't know what is going to happen next. Someone I know who used to work for Handspatch Update has opened up their own bar in Croydon, and I think it is one of the bravest, gutsy decisions ever.
Mm,
I could not do it. I couldn't open up a bar because a bar is it's all disposable income, and there's
yeah,
me calculating how much disposable income I've got left. I don't have a huge amount. I am gonna, and I don't know. I just here you asked me one of my goals. One of my goals is just promote and talk about decent beer. I know what it's like to go back to the 1990s, early 2000s, where I had to go to Weatherspoons and buy ale, which was good, but the crap beer out
yeah.
there. I know I don't. I want to eradicate. Well, I don't want to eradicate. I just want it to change. I don't like to enlighten, get people thinking about things. There you go. There's my goal. I want people to think and have a
Yeah.
laugh.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's a bad goal at all. It's
Mm.
just when you're getting to that point where the guys who sponsor you, pushing you, pushing you. Oh, Rasco, if you just said this, if you just said that, you just said this. Oh, you might win an award. Oh, if you just said, then you go, you got to hold true at that point.
Yeah, you
That's the
do.
hard bit.
You do. But at the same time, but put it this way, there was a joke made by Pete Brown who was hosting the event, um, with the awards ceremony, and it was jokes of like the same people winning the same awards again and again, and it does because I do think there was this voice in my head saying, that's why you got membership. They need fresh blood for someone else to pick up the awards because it is going around in circles. It's not
Well,
the first time Johnny
no,
Garrett's won those awards.
no. Well, this is the thing, and the other
Mm,
side to it is you've got Simon from Real Ale Craft Beer.
yeah.
He's been on there since the
Mm,
decade of beer itself. It feels like
yes.
he's a dinosaur. He won't mind me saying that.
Mm,
And he started off as one dude with a vision to they let him on this platform and he was going to talk about beer. And he
mm,
has done so much. Like for my little company, he's promoted us, he's pushed us, he's encouraged us, he's look, John, you need to do this, you need to push that, you go here, you go there, got us over 1,000. And I know a lot of people scoff at him, and I've heard
mm,
British Beer Writers Guild people scoff at him like he
mm,
doesn't know anything. And I've heard this from the mouth of someone that said he doesn't know anything about beer, but he probably earns more than us. And I think that for me, I thought was appalling. I thought, you know what, you the British Beer Guild should be going out of their way to find people that are willing to stand up and say like I like this beer or I don't like this beer, or they're promoting a certain brand. I mean, we know as a fact, Johnny and Brad, they've been paid to promote brands. Of course they have.
Mm, yeah.
They've been sponsored. We're a Patreon. There's loads of others that are. We're all feeding into that pot. So
Mm,
why is it that he gets left out? Like, who is it? Somebody said something somewhere for them to have such a low opinion, and he hasn't. He's a good. I think he's probably arguably on YouTube. He's probably the best promoter of craft beer on YouTube. I would say. And I'm sorry, Johnny or Brad, if you don't agree.
mm,
That's fine. I love you guys. You know that. But I think he's been around a long time, and I feel like Johnny's very polished with it.
mm,
Brad's a bit more like me. Is a bit
mm.
more like wears his heart on his sleeve. Uh, Simon's just an average guy. He's just like any one of
Yeah.
us, and I think that's what people associate. But when is the British Guild writers of beer, or I can't even say it right because I'm so disconnected from who they are. When have they ever said or gone out of their way to find someone like that and say, you know what, we recognise that you've worked your arse off, you've done really well, you've built
Yeah.
a YouTube channel. He might not have the biggest subscriber base, but quite
Mm,
often he'll smash other channels for
yeah.
views. So why is he not on?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, has he ever thought about applying for membership? I mean, that's all he needs to do.
Yeah, he
And
has. He has, but he's not a writer.
it doesn't matter. Neither am I. They have a YouTube section. It's not about being a writer. It's actually being about a communicator. The reason they call it writers is because in 1988, YouTube didn't exist. You can even win an award for best electronic communicator and YouTuber. Guess who
But
won that, by the way?
yeah, well, there
And
you go. But arguably, he has more views. Do you
he
see what I
does.
mean? So I feel like the whole thing with those guys. I'm harking on. I'm going to get jumped on after this. That's fine. I've
Mm.
had a few beers. I don't care. I love you all. There's no hate there. There's no hate
No,
there. But you run the risk of just being the beer police. That's the issue.
you're not. I hear your point, and I don't think you're wrong.
The
Um,
beer police sponsored by AB InBev or whoever it might be.
yes, you're not wrong, and you could tell in the room when certain companies got mentioned, and then you're meant to applaud. There wasn't a certain. You could tell what was the mentality of the room when someone got big applause and some did not.
Yeah,
Um,
but no one gives a shit about their applause because that doesn't matter in real world terms. This is what I'm talking about. No
mm,
one really cares, and if those people who were reviewers and that are out there they don't care because they're getting their pockets lined by the big boys. That's it. End
yeah,
of story. They're not there shouting, "Oh no, I really hate the fact that Asahi won that because what?" I'm sorry, I'm picking out Asahi like I know them, but I'm picking out them because they did it. They make me feel threatened or whatever it is. I'm gonna clap
mm,
a little less loud. Ultimately, these big boys have got control of the scene, and they're trying to gain control of the scene. That's it. And I do wonder um, whether I feel like those guys are pushing. They're pushing real hard to get it back to how it was in the late 80s, early 90s, where we had 4 beers to choose from.
yeah, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's the point where I go back to what I was saying in the last conversation I had there. I don't know. Um, what I would like with breweries, and I said this is the Green King. Is I really like what Sebastian Knob they do. They bring out beers from the past, and I'd like some of the Harveys, Green King, and that lot to bring out beers from the past. Who
That'd be
knows?
cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. I'd love Green King to give me more than £52 for a barrel of beer and support smaller breweries because their beer's shit and they want us to come in and sell beer to them through the beer company, but they don't want to pay us any money. That's what I'd like. I'd like to see a fair share because they will sell beer, no problem, no problem. They've got the footfall, but I'd like to see when I have my beer on in their pubs, I'd like to at least get what it's worth,
Yeah.
not arguing over 50p.
Very true. Very true. I was making the point of why I made my nominations. Yeah. I based
Yeah,
it
go on.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I based it on business outlook, quality of beer as always. But you can get a nomination for Brewery of the Year and not get a Beer of the Year nomination. Um, Off me at least, and I do issue out certificates to those who win. So I based it on community outlook and business approach because I think that's what needs to be highlighted because 10% of the industry has disappeared in 3 years. And God knows what it's going to be like this time next year, if there is even a Rasco and Disco, and I'm serious about that. Well, I really like what you do, John, because
thank you very much.
you've said YouTube saved your business. You go out there, you're on the level bloke, and you're producing a great product of beer. You really engage with people on a one-to-one level, and I think there is something to be learnt with that. And Shop they are doing that as well with London Black and engaging with people and breweries. And they did a really nice thing on social media today of they're next door to a brewery called Signal, who are very nice, but radically different from Ransbach and Obday. And they said some really nice things about their brewery and the taproom bar. And they should go down there and where you can get them. That's what I like. You're saying the business should be scratching each other's back and helping each other out more. Do you remember at Brew London, not this year, but the year before, Creative Juicers were up and they were saying, look, it's just been really, really nice how everyone has just been helping each other out. I encourage the industry to do more of that. And there was a bit of that going on Wednesday behind in the corporate shadow, because you're right. That event is within the corporate shadow. You only have to look at the sponsor list. Rasco will be replaced with Blasco, and it will be Disco and Blasco. Maybe. Hello, guys. Your chair is still not set. I like John. No, you're
I'm not
just.
burning the chair. It's not.
I do love your chair, John. I'm deeply jealous.
It's lovely. I love this chair. It's a great chair. Technically, I should be facing the fire because that's the whole point in the wing back is to capture the heat.
But so, yeah, this is an engagement that you've done with on YouTube. It's quite a little bit unique. You're not the only brewery to go on YouTube, but you are fairly active on it. Is that a personal desire or just strictly business?
Oh, it's a really interesting question, actually. I'm glad you asked it, Roscoe. For me, there is that inner want to do well. Maybe there's an inner show off in me. I like to show off. I like to have fun. I want to inspire people. So you know what? If this all goes wrong and I lose it all, then so be it. That's fine. I lost it. At least I tried, and I'll get myself back on my feet and I'll carry on. I want to. I'm not a quitter, and I feel like this world, certainly now, is like quit on your marriage, quit on your friends, quit on this, quit on that. And I just don't see it like that. I don't think that's the way to live your life. I don't think that's ever really beneficial. I think if you push that, you'll end up dying on your own, which is a pretty scary thought. And for me, I want to put something back in there. And so for me, YouTube is interesting because it's given me a platform to talk about what I like to do, my beer, my cars, my obsession with aircraft, my whatever it is, my technology. Like I was a massive technophobe. Like I couldn't work a computer to save my life. Now I've started another YouTube channel,
Yes.
and it's called RGB Addicts Reviews. It's there for people that maybe have never really got into technology in any kind of way. And I try and make it in as much layman's terms like I would learn. So it's not technical at all. I mean, I watched a video. So I've got my new camera that I'm on at the moment. And I watched a video and it was so bloody complicated about how to set it up and turn it on. I was like, this is pointless. Like the average Joe like me doesn't really care. We just want it to turn on and do the job. And I watched another guy's video. It was I think it was from Singapore, and he explained how it worked. It was so easy that I was able to do this. And I said on my latest video that I did on that channel that I would use it tonight. So that's what I'm doing. And actually, a lot of people are like, oh, it thermally cuts out and all this. It's very hot in this room and it's not cut out once. So it's doing all right. Touch wood. But YouTube for me is a way of interacting with my customer base and making a purely like I don't know any other brewery where you can go on their website and talk to the director of the company. Not easily.
Not easily, no.
Or chat with them on YouTube, like we are chatting now.
Indeed, very true.
And that's the key. It's interactive. It's completely. What's the word? There's no. If you don't like my beer, you can tell me that you don't like my beer. If you think I should have done it a different way, you can tell me. You want it done a different way. That's fine. I'll take it. It might hurt my pride, but that's the only way to grow. So for me, we released something a while back. We were unsure whether it would work. But the feedback we got from our fans on YouTube who drink the beer was like, that's really good. This other beer that you do, not so good. Don't do that one again. And so it steered what we did. And so YouTube, funnily enough, has really shaped the way our business has gone. Whether that's a good thing, I don't know. We'll find out.
That is very true. Well put, and thank you for sharing that. John, you'd make a good governor in Georgia, apparently. Thank you, STD, by the way. Square Table Degenerates. By the way, I think this is the first time we've ever interacted. I know you've interacted with Disco a fair bit because he's like living in the Matrix sometimes. YouTube is always a way of doing comedy in rather than bars. Tuesday, I never thought it would be big as it is. Blah, blah, blah. Brain. John, has anyone ever received your beer and gave it to a subpar review? I don't know.
Yeah, we've had a few subpar reviews. We had one the other day. We did Fish Counter Nipah, and unfortunately, the Nipah, when you look at it on camera, it doesn't look very appetizing. But that's part of using natural grains. Like, so this one's got obviously Got some roasted malt in there. It's looking pretty dark. But
That does
I,
look dark.
when you use those grains, you normally get a spec sheet that tells you what it's going to look like. And the amount of times we get that spec sheet, it's flipping miles off. I mean, we did a beer called Interceptor, and at one Christmas, it looked like flipping cherry. It looked as red as these armrests on here, cherry red. And you're like, well, it was brown last year, and now it's flipping bright red. What do I do? And then the following year, everyone's like, have you got that red beer? It's amazing. And you're like, no, because the grain's changed. So it's difficult because that's the only downside with YouTube. Your haters will come out and hate you. It's just inevitable. It's like death in taxes. But I feel like, I don't know about you, Rasco, but I feel like when you're, from what I've learned on YouTube, if you've got some haters, you've got a good growth on your channel. Means you're doing well.
That's probably what's going wrong with us. We don't have enough haters. We're too likable, are we? I don't know. I would say this. Fuck. This happens a lot, man. I'm about to say a point and then I completely forget.
What's wrong?
No, it's fucking annoying. That's what it is. Beef. Oh, sorry. Referring back to your previous live show, I eat beef on Christmas Day. I make a nice Dijon mustard sauce with chopped garlic, grinded garlic down to that size, bit of onion, bit of parsley, massage it into the beef, cover it with foil and put it in. That's what I have.
That sounds lush.
I've opted for turkey this year, and I'm gonna say that's it. I heard a guy on YouTube say put some oranges in to keep that turkey nice and dry, because that's the argument I'm facing at the moment in my household. That's all I want to say about that.
Maybe pear. I love Sobieski said about putting pears up its chuff. I thought pears. I like the idea of pear and turkey. I can go with.
Yeah, that would bring out a nice little taste to it. Lemon, I would have put into it.
Oh yeah, lemon.
And a bit of rosemary. It's giving me. I might do a test run. Actually, I actually need to get the oven a scrub to get it ready for Christmas. Where are we for time? Oh my god! All right, this is very pleasant, John. I think this is the most serious chat I've ever had on this channel. I mean, thank you very much for that.
That's all right.
What else was I going to say? Oh, there's a beer festival happening in East London if you're about, called Pigs Ears. If you're about, I was going to have them on tonight, but they couldn't do it. And that's about that. Garlic butter under the skin. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to remember that bloody point I was going to make. Fuck it.
It was good.
Wednesday night. Yeah. It was so good that it disappeared. Oh. Yeah, that's that. What have you got next, John, apart from Disco Made Me Do It? Rasco is the genius? That'd be a good bit.
Well, there's lots going on in the background. There's all kinds of stuff. I've got to go down to Sussex next week, I think.
Oh, yes.
Got a little thing going on with the Eagle GB cars, all being well. Really desperately need to go down and see him because I've cut it a bit fine. We've got hopefully a video coming with those guys. There is a brand new car channel that I'm starting in the new year. Yeah, called Nerds in Motion.
Very cool. And you're doing that by yourself, or?
I am doing it by myself, although there will be appearances from my good friends Crummy Beard and Mark, who has got beautiful cars. But it's going to be very petrol head orientated. All things automotive, all things aircraft, or anything that's in motion, basically. Anything that has an engine, that has engineering, the things that I love the most. I'm going to be doing a channel about that. And hopefully that will steer a lot of people into having live streams with Lords Brew Company and maybe picking up some beers or coming to our tap room or picking us at the pump. And that is the idea of that bad boy. And what else can I tell you? Grain next year for everybody who's trying not to worry about everything. We just got our prices for grain next year, and it is 30%, 30% more. And we've already had a 40% rise.
Well, I wish you well and every other business.
But what I'm going to tell you now,
yeah,
what probably nobody else is saying, you won't be seeing any dark beers next year. And the reason why you won't be seeing any dark beers is because the dark malts, the roasted malts, are mental expensive. You're talking £5 at least a bag more. We're not talking like £5 a ton more. We're talking £5 a 25 kilo sack more. That's a lot of money.
that is a lot of money, and actually, that makes me think about instantly Ansbach Hob Day. They're making a lot of money out of London Black, and it's a superb drink. But if the price is going up as you saying it is, I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
I hope something
I would
changes.
love a higher.
Yeah. Good on you guys. Take care of you both, guys. You good channel in Leeds, craft beer hunting on Pearson Day on Monday. Take care both. Well, thank you.
Enjoy tomorrow. Have fun.
Indeed. Oh man, that's because I'm a dark beer lover. Come on, man.
I know you are. I know. I mean, we looked at it. So we've next week we're putting an order in, and we're going to try and buy all of the dark malt that we might need for next year. Everything. We're going to buy everything we can, so that we can continue. Like literally, the abandoned car.
Yeah.
It's whether it's already tight with pubs. So to give you some background, it's got that bad with pubs. Some of the pubs we've started selling to Wetherspoons. And we've done an exclusive range to Wetherspoons. And we looked at our normal recipes for our blonde, our IPA, our stout, and we've just moved everything back to make them as cheap as possible, but the best quality. And they take a lot of our beer. We've sold a lot of it. But the issue that you've got is the Banneker Irish Porter, I would argue, is probably one of the best porters in the country. I think there's probably a handful of microbrewers that probably have got as good. That's what I would say for a good sessionable porter, as it should be. And even that beer, I'm in an ahhing whether we can afford to sell it at what we can. And when you've got wholesalers that need it cheap, and you've got Green King and the likes of Stonegate, actually Stonegate are pretty fair, but Green King, they won't give you the money for it. Admiral won't. You're talking, they want a cask of beer at 50 quid. Like 50 quid for 9 gallons, and deliver it, and sign it all off, and enter it all into the brewing software. Never going to happen. They're never going to get the good beers.
So the age of apocalypse is definitely upon us. Then you've confirmed it. what I've always feared, that the golden age of beer flavor and taste is coming to an end, and that we may be.
We've got Mr. Putin to thank for a lot of this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every time I hear the name Putin, the Rage Against the Machine song "Bullet in the Head" comes to mind.
Hell yeah.
And I don't choose violence or recommend violence to anyone, but some people, hey, if your Russian bots are listening, get the hint.
Yeah. If you're Rusky and you're watching and you're pro-Russia, I'm sorry, this is not the place for you.
It really isn't. It really isn't. You can. Yeah, and moving on.
Yeah, moving on. I'm all good with it. I've done my bit. We've raised a lot of money for Ukraine.
You have, and that is another reason why you got a nomination. An unsinkable Moskva I drank with Roger Prolz at GBBF. It was a fabulous drink. Absolutely. Are you just what? Are you 100% cask, or you done? Are you thinking about switching the keg because you probably make more money?
We have a second brand called Sleeper. So my surname is Slumbers, which is sleep. So Sleeper, which is I'm a petrol head, so Sleeper is like a car that looks kind of slow, but it's actually very, very fast. So that's where the Sleeper brand comes from. When we tried to sell Lords Brew Co as keg, everybody was like, "Who?" Like they do cask. They just could not see it, and we couldn't sell it. Like literally, I'd have to give it away. We changed it to Sleeper, and we sold all of it.
Wow.
So it's brand perception. Cask, we sell loads. Absolutely loads. The Unsinkable Moskva, I love that project. I think that has to be my highlight of all of last year. That was the one thing that I really enjoyed doing and feeling like I'm helping. I'm doing something that means something. We did not taken away from, we did a 24-hour live stream for help for homeless veterans, which was also a massive thing. We raised £2,400 for those guys, which helps. Very specific. It's within England and Scotland and Wales. It's a very personal project, and we employ veterans as well, so it's a big thing for us. But certainly with Ukraine, that beer, it was actually the first beer that sold off at GBBF. It was the first beer to go off, and Wild Beer Co, one of their beers sold off first, and they tweeted, "Oh, we sold our beer off first," and the camera guys were incensed. They were like, "No, Putin's Unsinkable Moskva was the first beer in the whole of GBBF to sell off," and they had the full amount. So it wasn't like they had only 50 liters; they had many casks. That was the first beer to sell off of that festival.
Excellent.
And also, we got some really weird messages of some what I think were Russian people that wanted to meet with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've had a lot. We've had hacks. We've had our website taken down. We've had I've had emails with abuse. We had our channel botted. We've had our website botted to try and derank us in the UK. We've had all sorts of stuff.
Shit me sideways. You reported that to the government.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good. We're big boys.
Fair enough.
It's fun.
Well, John, I really appreciate you coming on. I won't keep you any longer because you've been going quite some time. You're a bit of a YouTube machine, man. Yeah.
Run out of beer now, actually.
Yeah, that's another reason to maybe wrap it up.
Do you know, I've got one beer left, and it's from Australia that I got sent from a YouTube subscriber, and I feel
Trav.
like I want to. Yeah, Trav sent me a beer, so I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Save it for a Christmas session.
Yeah, I'm good.
But thank you for everyone. Square Table Degenerates, you've been great. You some really nice comments from you. Everyone who's made any kind of comment whatsoever, thank you very much. Keep active, stay happy, drink some great beer. I'm Rasco. I'll probably see you next week. John, thank you for co-hosting, mate.
All good, man.
Ay con Dios, everyone.
Bless you all. Have a good week.